The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad. Welcome to Liberated Sisters, recording live right here at Morris Media Studios. Thank you for tuning in. Today we are going to address the scourge, the plague, the problem of domestic violence in the Black community. A beautiful sister, Carletta Denise, put a post on Facebook. I think it was 11/24, just shortly after Thanksgiving, but during the Thanksgiving break, that six black women had been killed within a span of 1 week. And this was in domestic violence incidents. And she and others said rightfully so. Where was the outcry? At least from us. And so we want to talk about that today. Our guest today in studio is going to be Sister Charlene Muhammad, not me. I'm the host. We have another Sister Charlene that's going to be here. She's going to deal with that and discuss it with me, as well as talk to us about what's coming up at Muhammad Mosque number 27, right here at the Western Region headquarters of the Nation of Islam, the MGT and GCC. That's the Muslim Girls Training and General Civilization class, is hosting a Sisters Marketplace. And so she'll bring us more information about that. So we will be taking your calls today. I'll be giving that number for you to get in the queue and weigh in on domestic violence and how we can stop it. What's this all about? Why are black women dying at the hands of our very own men, right? Those that we've been married to, those that we are engaged to, those that are pursuing us. Oh my God. It's really horrible. We'll get more into that. But first, the Justice Report. Today's Justice Report comes right out of the Final Call newspaper. I got to tell you, those who are watching, I have to tell you, you're going to need to bear with me today, because this issue of domestic violence and anything that's affecting our women and girls really hits home with me. So I'm going to keep it together as we talk about this, because no one is immune. We know somebody. It may be a woman suffering in silence herself. I know a lot of people that brush it under the rug. It happened to me, so we're not talking about it, and it comes in many forms. It comes in the form of molestation, rape. It comes in a lot of ways. So we're going to get through this show. The Final Call newspaper for the Justice Report kicks us off. Minister Farrakhan, as those who are followers of the show know. Those who don't know, I'll tell you, he's back safely. He and his delegation, again, we thank Allah, from Iran. He went there with a message to the students, but also the government, as well as the world. And in the Final Call newspaper, you can see it there, the cover story, Iran, Farrakhan, and the Truth. This is by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. In it, he details his message and his dialogue with His Excellency, the Secretary of the Expediency Discernment Council in Iran. So go to finalcall.com. You can catch that story. Finalcall.com for that story. Also, I would like to call your attention to Defending Farrakhan. Our work is in the streets. I have the digital edition. You can look at it too. Just subscribe. It's a measly few dollars a month per week. Get the Final Call. You have the whole edition right there on your mobile device or your computer. But Defending Farrakhan, our work is in the streets. It's a beautiful display of the fruit of Islam across the nation. They're bringing the Final Call newspaper to the people. So that's one story I would like to call your attention to. Beautiful images, nicely done, whoever put that together for us. Also, another story I was blessed to write about the work of our dear brother Joseph Champagne Mackendal. He is the minister's representative in Haiti, and the article is entitled Healing, Helping, and Rebuilding in Haiti. And so we're across the world, everyone, doing work. And let us not forget, as we leave the Justice Report segment there, 'tis the season for store shutdowns in trouble. So we have still the not one dime. We have the up with Jesus, down with Santa, boycott from justice or else, because they haven't stopped killing us, meaning the law enforcement establishment. And now we have vigilantes, and we have all of these quote unquote Beckys who are trying to commit murder or manslaughter by calling police on black folk, and children who are just doing their everyday things. And so we have a whole slew of articles for you in the Final Call newspaper. One last one I want to point out is, what if black professional athletes respected black economic empowerment? That's by Dr. Harry Alford and others. So that's the Final Call newspaper for our Justice Report. And now we're going to turn to Sister Charlene Muhammad, welcome her and welcome you into the dialogue about domestic violence. Assalamu alaikum, gorgeous.
Wa alaikum salam, beautiful.
You look great in my favorite color.
We're twins.
Yeah.
Same name, same color.
Same color. That's right. Thank you so much for being with us, Sister Charlene. I really appreciate it. She came on to talk about the marketplace, but also, as our other guest was not able to make it today, I thought it was very fitting, and I asked her to come and stay with me to talk about domestic violence, and she agreed. But I do want to tell you a little bit about her from my vantage point. She is an actress, and she does many things for our community, but one thing she did for me in helping to save my life was she was my very first prayer instructor under our emeritus regional sister MGT captain here, Sister Captain Alice Muhammad, who is now in Phoenix. But when I came into the Nation of Islam, Sister Alice, Sister Student Emeritus Captain Alice, was our captain in charge of the women here in the Western region. And under her, Sister Charlene taught us a prayer class at Mosque 27 when we were on Centinela. Yes. I came in right after the Million Man March. I missed the march by that much. But I want to say thank you. You know, as I've said before in private, thank you for teaching me the Al-Fatiha.
Oh, praises be to Allah, Sister Charlene. I want to thank you and also congratulate you for everything that you have contributed to our nation. You're writing in the Final Call, and now you're starting your own show. You have your own show, and you tell nothing but the truth, and your writing is immaculate, impeccable. Thank you for what you are sharing with the world.
Yes, ma'am.
Through the Final Call, and now Facebook Live.
Thank you. I say praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. It's by His grace. Like Aretha Franklin said, black people gave her money and she was going to use it to help Angela Davis. You know, God gave me my voice when I heard Minister Louis Farrakhan, and so I'm going to give it back and raise awareness about the things that is impacting us, the things that are impacting us. So let me start, and we're going to be coming up with Sisters Marketplace, so you all stay right there. We'll tell you what it is, what we'll have, and how you can be a part of and receive the goods there. But a sister named Carletta Denise on Facebook, I saw a post. I was scrolling through. I was working on an assignment one night, and I really couldn't do too much with it, but, make a mental note. And it's something that I've covered before, like my first and second show for Liberated Sisters many years ago when I began at KPFK dealt with domestic violence. And one thing that she posted was that in 1 week, 6 black women had been killed in domestic violence incidents. And the threads of comments after that just really lamented. And we've heard this conversation before. Where is the outcry And how is it that our men are killing us this way? And that's 6 lives in 1 week. And I said, wow, that's 6 that we know about. And I just want to lift the sisters here, if I could. Bear with me because of the images I'm having to read through. But as I find that, one thing I want to mention is that what Carletta Denise pointed out was we didn't hear about them to a large degree in the way that we would if these were police officers or vigilantes that had killed 6 black men, or 6 black women for that matter, or 6 children. But one that we did get news coverage on was our sister doctor that was killed by her fiance. And she pointed out, Carletta Denise pointed out, that was because, in her opinion, an officer was shot in the process. And I thought that was something interesting. But Sister Charlene, let's get your thought about what you see happening with domestic violence and black women and what you feel is the root of that. And I will pull the information on these sisters more visibly so I can share their stories with the viewers.
Yes, ma'am. I feel a lot of the violence going on has to do with low self-esteem. I also feel that it's rooted all the way back to slavery. We were taught to hit. We were taught to strike one another, be it man against man or man against woman. The woman is not valued as she should be. If everyone knew who we really were, they wouldn't abuse us. But because physically we are the weaker sex, we are taken advantage of in a very cruel way. It's all about knowledge. It's all about prayer. We are Allah's procreants. He chose us to create with him, to bring new life into the world. And as Minister Farrakhan teaches us, as long as we are treated the way we've been treated, it affects our children. It's a continual process where the woman, knowledge is at the foot of the woman. So if all we know is abuse, we'll abuse our children. We won't be able to teach them and enlighten them as to the beauty of what is in this world. And it's got to stop somewhere. The buck has got to stop somewhere. And I hope through prayer and knowing who we are. Now, the MGT and GCC class, we were given a class thanks to our national captain, Sister Sandy. She developed a class, how to take care of your husband. But the first part of that lesson, of that curriculum, was knowing and learning yourself. So if we know ourselves and who we are, we would not allow anyone to abuse us. So I think the first part of this is for us to learn who we are, where we came from, what are we here for.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Sister Charlene, for your comment. And yes, thank you so much, Sister Student National Captain Sandy Muhammad, for such a wonderful class. And you're welcome. You are all welcome to that class. We are at Muhammad Mosque number 27. That's 701 South Vermont, and the cross street is Manchester. But you can also go into our comments page, reach out. We'll make sure you get information about that. But we are not immune to this problem. Trust and believe. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke recently from headquarters after his trip from Tehran. That was last week. And he said, no man should hit a woman, and no man in the nation. He said, in the nation of Islam, we don't do that. And he said, now don't get me wrong. Some of us do. Some men do. He said, but then they're dealt with. They're disciplined. We handle that. But by and large, it should not be. But I want to preface this by saying, because when I was speaking to someone last night, even when I experience certain things in my own life and talk with people and we have dialogue about this, anyway, I'm sensitive to the fact that any way we slice this up, whatever the solutions come, sometimes it appears to be a blame the victim situation or sentiment, and it's not. Where Sister Charlene, I spell my name E-N-E and she's I-N-I, I-N-E. But where I'm coming from with Liberated Sisters is to impress upon us that there's something that can be done about this in the beginning as we are experiencing this problem, and even after, because it can be long, life lasting if the proper care help is not there. And so I do plan to give out, before we wrap the show, resources and the hotline number and other things. But one thing I want to say is that know that we're coming from a place of love and we're coming from a place of concern. You know, we must be respected and protected. The Black woman is the least respected and least protected. But I want to say, as I'm taught and as we're reminded, with protection comes a measure of control. We cannot protect what we cannot control, meaning Black men. But what we're saying right now is, in this case, we're talking about dying at the hands of our men. We already know, brothers, that it's not all of you. We know that. But we say, like the good cops and the bad cops, you know somebody. We have a barbershop culture of language. We have a music culture of language that devalues the Black woman. And so I believe that all of this, the molestation, the rape in the home, the abuse of little girls in the home, and outright the pimping and the hustling of women plays a part. We have a culture of disrespect and devaluing the woman, so that by the time this happens with a Black woman, we get what did she do? Why is that happening? Must have done something. For instance, and I'm going to bring out the stories, the news clippings of what happened to these women, and then we're going to hear from Minister Farrakhan, and we're going to come back and hopefully hear from you. I'll go online and see what you're saying, and if you want to call in, it's 323-293-3375, 323-293-3375. But what I was going to say about that culture is, a lot of times, I don't think a person can fight real strong against something if they're culpable in that. I don't think that a person will stand up as hard against rape if they're raping, right? We're not raising our voice against the molestation of little girls because, oh, well, I just picked my niece off. This is just Sister Charlene thinking. But it's got to stop. It's got to stop. So let me give you some information on the sisters. So Unique Atkins and Sierra Brown, Sister Charlene, check this out. They were murdered on November 17th. These are according to reports that I'm receiving. I have not gone and triple fact checked. I'm pulling this off Facebook. These are certainly deaths, but I have not myself gotten into the minute details of the killings. This is off of Sister Carletta Denise's Facebook page, but reportedly in Los Angeles, Unique Atkins and Sierra Brown were found dead after firefighters put out a blaze at their apartment. The Post says that this was about 9:05 on November, this is a.m., 9 o'clock in the morning on the 17th. Both victims had been shot, according to police. These were two sisters found with gunshot wounds. A 16-year-old, one of them is 16 years old. She lay dying of a gunshot wound to the neck, according to the LA County Medical Examiner coroner. Her sister died of multiple gunshot wounds. The LAPD is calling this a domestic violence incident. Two 17-year-old males. She's 116. I don't have the age of the other sister. Two 17-year-old males were arrested 3 days after the murders. Sierra was dating one of the suspects. We have Sister Nia Wilson and her sister in Oakland that were killed. Nia was killed and her sister, their throats were slashed by this white guy on the train. And we heard about that. And we barely heard about that, but we didn't hear about this. in the way that we hear about things. Clearly it's reported, but in the way that people are shocked and aghast. Like, my God. Right? It's the black woman we're talking about here. Aisha Fraser was murdered same day, November 17th. I don't know if I sent the photograph to the engineer, but I'm gonna later on send it. I want you to see them. She was in Shaker Heights, Ohio. She was stabbed to death by her ex-husband, Lance Mason. Mason attacked Fraser while she was dropping off their daughters. The daughters were nearby at the time of their mother's murder. This is a quote from the report, when she pulled in to drop the kids off as agreed, as she was taking the children out of the car, he attacked her. This is according to the victim's uncle, George Fraser, traumatizing them for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
Stephanie Valerie was murdered on November 18th. That's the next day. So this is 3 days in Baton Rouge. That's my stomping ground. Michael Valerie went into his wife's house, Stephanie Valerie, around 8 p.m. She was in the process of filing for divorce. The sheriff's office said authorities say the two got in an argument when Michael began to stab Stephanie. Stephanie's sister, Danielle Scott, the 5-time Olympian, and Danielle Scott, Stephanie's daughter, named after her aunt, both tried to pull him off of Stephanie. Both women suffered stab wounds. We were trying to put pressure on the wounds, but she had already passed. Then he kicked down the door and came back again. I said to him, "You killed my mama." He just didn't care. He ran up and stabbed her some more and ran out. What kind of hatred? What kind of hatred is that?
Mental illness, Sister Charlene.
The daughter is saying, "You killed my mama." He went up and stabbed her some more. What's happening with us, Black Nation? Dr. Tamara O'Neal was murdered on November 19th. In Chicago, Illinois, Dr. O'Neal was supposed to get off at 2 p.m., but she stayed later. When finally she did leave, she was met by ex-fiancé Juan Lopez in the parking lot. She had recently broken off their engagement. Now, the two argued. He shot her multiple times before going outside the hospital. See, there's a situation here. I'm like, I don't want to talk about that, but it's there. What I keep seeing coming up, Sister Charlene, in the news report, and the currents, right? But what I keep seeing is we see things that I receive as already we're going to get you off. Now, this could just be my PTSD dealing with these stories time and again, because one thing I say is, what does that matter? But if it's a fact of the case, then it's a fact of the case. But I take an issue with it sometimes. And what I keep seeing propping up, like in this report, it says she had recently broken off the engagement and he demanded she give the ring back. And they argue and he shot her. It's like Carletta and I talked about. Well, he ain't got the ring now, do you? Do you have the ring? If the ring is an issue, so then you throw that's tossed in. And again, if it's a fact, then I can't, as a journalist, you can't say, okay, but it's the use of facts and how we use them.
Yes.
As we see young boys killed by the police or women, but with the victims, we see the crimes come out, or anything that the state or establishment wants to justify, they bring out something so-called bad about the person. And then the court of public opinion, then it starts that way. You get the jury, the person's acquitted. But ring, give me a break. You see, do I have their picture on the flyer? I really want to show them. Beautiful sisters, just lives gone. They're young. Not to say that if they were old, it wouldn't matter. But I'm just saying, look at this. Lives ahead of them in their prime. Keshana Jeffers was murdered on November 22nd in Louisville, Texas. The mother of 3 was fatally shot by the father of her children while the children watched on Thanksgiving morning. Louisville police said Daryl Stegall showed up at Jeffers' apartment and began to bang on the door. When he wasn't let in, Captain Rochelle said he kicked the door down and shot Jeffers several times in the head in front of their children, 7, 9, and 10 years old. Look, y'all, these are according to reports. I got to say the word allegations, but these are reports. One thing that is for sure is they're dead.
Yes, ma'am.
All right? When we're dealing with the criminal justice system and journalism, there are allegations. These men are going to go through trials in court and what have you, but at the end of the day, these women are dead. 323-293-3375 to call and weigh in. Sister Charlene, let's hear from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He's been staunch about the treatment of women, the divine value of women, and I don't know who else. I'm sure there's some voices, but I know this man has been really heavily pounding the pavement about how to treat the woman, and also the responsibility of us. Like there's a two-way part. There's a male and a female situation here.
Right.
But
he also he said that when he first became the minister in the New York mosque, he never had any idea of the domestic violence, especially sexual abuse between the father and the daughter in the home.
Yeah, it's a horrific thing. Let's hear from Minister Farrakhan, you all.
And our little girls, they're in a lot of pain, like you. There's not hardly a woman in this audience that didn't suffer abuse as a young girl growing up. Am I lying? I don't hear the church. Can I get an amen? Amen. Now, I know I'm in the right place. Who raped you, daughter? Was it your father? Was it your uncle? Was it your grandfather? Was it one of your brothers? Damn. When I start talking on this, women start crying because you know what you've been through in your life. And your life has darn near been ruined because you can't give to the man that you finally fall in love with the essence of your being because that was taken from you. Come on and talk to me. Most of these young girls, my little sisters up in here, they're angry. Because they're being used by their own black brothers. They used to sell drugs, but the penalty's too great, so they turn our young girls into whores and send them out, and they're pimps now. See, what are we going to do with them? It's a good question, isn't it? See, if there's no discipline in the hood, now you may not like what I'm about to say. But the virtue of our women must be protected, and the virtue of our women must be honored and respected, and those who destroy the virtue of our women, the penalty should be death. To men. Yes, sir. But see, if you like to rape women and dog women, see, your number is coming up now. Yes, sir. This woman is the joy of our life. She dies every time she has a baby. She experiences the pain of death to give life to us, and you would mistreat her and beat her. See, when you whoop a woman like that, we just gonna beat your ass. All right, I said ass. Didn't the scripture say? Yes, sir. Come on. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ox, thy neighbor's ass, thy neighbor's wife.
Shouldn't do that.
And let me tell you, man, you shouldn't beat your wife. If you beat her, you shouldn't have one. You say, well, some of these women, they just get on you. Yeah, that's why you out there now with lace panties. Because you can't handle a black woman. Oh, it's rough stuff. Now we got to get the house right. Come on. And it don't start outside, it starts here. Come on. We need real men. Come on. Yeah. They're going to discipline our neighborhood. But you got to teach them first. You don't harm an ignorant person. You teach an ignorant person, but after you teach him, he's responsible for what he knows, then the price he got to pay. Come on! You don't sell no drugs to our people. That's death. We understand. You're trying to survive. There's another way. You don't know how? Come here. Reverend will show you how.
That's right.
Come to the mosque. We'll show you how.
That's right.
You don't need to lie, cheat, or steal, or sell drugs to be successful.
That's right.
Get your money, man. Get your bread up. Gotta do it for yourself.
Thank you, Brother Ben X, for reposting that from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You can find many, many great messages on Brother Ben X's page. We're proud of you, Brother Ben. The National Domestic Violence Hotline number is 800-799-7233. 800-799-7233. I would also like to say that there's an org. I've interviewed this brother, Suleiman Nuruddin, many times for the Final Call newspaper. He's with an organization called Men Stopping Violence. Men Stopping Violence. That's menstoppingviolence.org. It's posted on my Facebook page. Thank you, Angela Birdsong, for posting the National Domestic Violence Hotline number. You know, did you hear that, Sister Charlene? Did you hear that? Minister Farrakhan said you teach them first, right? You know, he just always comes with, this is the solution, but Allah is merciful, you know, because many of our people don't know. There's so many personal stories of domestic violence, and that hit home. I'm hearing from people about how this is hitting home for them. But Sister Charlene, your thoughts on what you just viewed by the minister?
That was it in a nutshell. And, you know, in the Nation of Islam, if a sister reports that you have hit her, you have violated her, we send the brothers to your house because we don't tolerate it. He talked about the abuse, the sexual abuse from the grandfather, the brothers in the house. You have to watch your daughters. He teaches us. He said he had 9 children, and most of them were daughters. And he said he's never even seen his daughter's legs. We have to learn what attracts men, and we have to adjust. A lot of women say, I wear what I want to wear. You know, he needs to get himself together. But we have to understand the man and his mind. And so we have to protect ourselves as much as we can. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us about our mouths. that we can really ignite an argument, although the man should have much better control. But we have to be careful how we explain and talk to our brothers and get our point across.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, in these sisters' situation, they were mothers, some of them. The relationship is severed, and they're in an exchange for the child because there's a joint custody, clearly, apparently, obviously, right? So, where does that come into play, right? If some women are ambushed, right? So how do we account for that? I'm coming from the other side,
the male
from those
ego.
who may not understand the what we're taught, and they've not gone through our teachings. Where does that come into play if there's not even an argument? The woman's just in the back seat getting the baby, and then pow, pow, pow.
The male ego, he has to learn how to control his ego. It's like that domination situation going again, where if I can't have you, no one else will. Which brings me to memory a situation, a very dear sister, a friend of mine. She was in a situation with an ex. He killed her. He shot her in her chest about seven times.
Ouch.
And she was trying to end the relationship.
Yeah, we see this. It's common.
So
it's common. One thing, I was speaking to my daughter. Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
She broke my heart. I was like, tell me you're joking. We have our young girls and our young women are they're giving people fake information just to respond positively so that they won't be killed. We've heard the stories of sisters, like one young sister was out. She was just denied. Like, no, I don't want to go out with you. And pow, dead for rejecting, which you have a right to reject. What gives you the right to take this person's life because you ask them out or you ask them for their name and number and they say no? What gives you the right to kill them, to kill and take life which you didn't bring into the world? We have to pay for that.
Sister Charlene,
we got to pay for that.
I think that you never know what this male has gone through in his life.
I got that. I understand that. Continue, but
he might have so much anger.
Yeah, you're right.
In his heart and soul and mind. And she, like I said, being the weaker sex physically, here somewhere, he can take that out on. And sometimes it goes too far.
I know what you're saying, Sister Charlene. Let me back up. I'm getting emotional. Let me back up. I know you're not saying that. I don't feel that you're saying that it's her fault. What I'm just processing, even as we talk here, that it's happening, and it appears, and many sisters are saying that it appears, and they feel that no one cares. I'm telling you, we care. The Nation of Islam cares. Minister Farrakhan cares.
Yes, we do.
We do have a way. I was one of the sisters I was speaking to was saying, the problem is many people are not armed. Sisters need to be armed. Well, I got to tell you, we don't carry weapons in the Nation of Islam. We don't carry so much as a penknife. And it's not from a spooky position where when we say God will fight our battles, we really mean that. But we also defend ourselves. But we just don't defend ourselves with weapons. Yes, ma'am. We're going to take a call. And thank you, caller, because you're pulling me back. You're on. Welcome to Liberated Sisters.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. It's one of my favorite listeners, Sister Beatrice. Hey, Beachy.
Because I love Liberated Sisters. You know it every week. But I really have to talk about this. And I'm probably going to make some people mad, but it's okay.
I'm trying not to. That's why I'm stumbling all over words. I just
because to
cut
me,
to the chase.
This is for me. Was there domestic violence in my house growing up? No. Did I see it growing up? Yes, I did. Did I make a choice that I didn't want it? Yes, I did. And so, to me, we have some men that do some things and they are not well, but to me, as sisters, I think that it's going to be better for us when we put a break on just taking any of those things for a man. Sorry.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
we have to be taught, though.
Right.
Taught how to pick.
Well, actually, I always go, action speaks louder than words. If women start looking at men's actions and not listening to what they say and not matching it up with what they do, they can save themselves a lot of trouble. Because we have to get in denial, because we want somebody and we look at things the way, we got to see things in reality.
I have a question. I know you're not finished your point, but as you continue, because I don't want to go past that point. When the minister said in the end of his clip, but we had to teach him, sometimes I think about young girls or women or people, and when they grow up in an environment, it may be all they know, right? So if someone sees abuse, and let me be clear, I'm not talking about necessarily anything specific with these 6 sisters who have been killed or anybody, but generally, then they think that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
I think, but go ahead, Beachy.
I taught a circle with some young sisters,
mm-hmm.
which the coordinator thought I was too hard, but the sisters that I was teaching appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes really, it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to, like for me, if somebody hit me in my eye and beat the hell out of me, I'm not coming back in your face. Because
Mm-hmm.
That hurts.
One time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That hurts. And so why would I put myself in that situation, which I share with the sisters? Nothing in your mind should go past the fact that somebody done hit you in your eye.
Mm.
And they meant to do it. I think that as women, we have so much power inside of us, but we give our power away because of a feeling.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The feelings gets us in trouble. We got to rise above emotions into the thinking of God, and we have to teach our sisters, even those that's not in the nation. 1 + 1 is 2. We don't have to tiptoe around that like that. To me, personally, that's what I think. When people talk to me about domestic violence, I'd be like, "You stupid, please." That's just me.
I understand.
Because you have to be that hard, because the next time you might die. Do you understand that? If somebody will punch you in your eye and kick you and hit you, they don't love you. That's just all to it.
Yeah.
And I know it's more when people grow up, they see stuff like that. And I just talked to a sister who was older, and she said that she saw it happened to her mother. And I asked her, well, why didn't you want something better for yourself? So we have to ask those questions. Why did you want something better for yourself? But I really think brothers and his sisters, I think what the message said, you got to go.
Got to go.
You
they got to get it.
You got to go.
They got to go. Got to get it.
And I know I'm kind of hard. Sorry, I could probably never be one of those counselors like that.
No,
I just think that
you're crazy. There's someone for everyone. People receive messages. Right. We're different people. People receive messages differently. Sometimes we get the message at a different time. Let me tell you. Look, I am a victim of domestic violence. Thank Allah, it wasn't physical until I woke up and I couldn't put my finger on it, so I internalized everything. And I thought that I was a problem because this is my best friend, now what's happening? And when I finally woke up, I didn't do a doggone thing. This is the problem, and called it out. Then he tried to strike me, and that was when it was all H broke loose, right? But I'm saying that to say that I always look back, even today, wow, I never experienced that. I couldn't put my finger on it. What was that about? And it took a lot from me, which I'm still trying to get back. But I recognize it, and I always thank Allah. It wasn't physical, but sometimes the verbal is greater. But I don't compare them, because to a person experienced abuse, and abuse is real to them. But what your message is going to help someone. I want to share with you.
Can I just say one thing? Just one thing. One thing. I was going to say for me, what helped me. It might not work for everybody, but this is what worked for me. I knew that I didn't want nobody hitting me. Okay, so if I met someone and we talk and we date and we go to dinner, we talking about the different things that we talk about. As sweet as I was talking as would be when we get to a certain point, talking about that like that. My thing was that if you hit me, I'm gonna kill you.
No.
I mean, we could be having dinner and be having that conversation.
Come on.
That was just my attitude.
Yeah.
If a man hit me, I'm going to kill him. And I meant that. And sometimes you put that on the table, and as they get to learn you, and they say, well, what's she doing? Is it a possibility? Yes, she is. Would she do that? Yes, she would.
Let me not try. Let me not try.
Right.
Let me not try.
Right.
Yeah, I get what you're
I'm
saying.
going to kill you.
Yeah.
That's just all to it.
Yeah.
And have that attitude. See?
Yeah, I get what you're
Just
saying.
like that.
Sometimes
Okay.
our women are so beaten down. And let me tell you, see, we'll never really get to the whole branch, the tree of this, because there's the isolation tactic. See, we're going to come back with an expert to talk about the different ways abusers are able to accomplish their thing, right? Because a lot of women are suffering in silence, and girls, and they have been made to think that nobody cares about them. No, we love you and we care. They've been made to think about that nobody loves them, nobody cares. The perpetrator isolates them, treats them well. They're on a silver platter, they're on a pedestal, and I want all your time. Next thing you know, you can't check your phone. Can't go around the corner. Mama and daddy, they just isolate people. And then this woman feels that, and in some cases it is all the providence, all the food, whatever she's getting. But there's a God that loves you, and there's people that will help you. But also like restraining orders. We see people with restraining orders, and the restraining orders mean nothing in many cases. And the criminal justice system does not prosecute domestic violence in the way it does things that should be prosecuted. And so there's a lot of things here, like this is just touching the surface and raising awareness again about, look, we said that 6 black women have been killed in a week, and I'm still think I see somebody that was pushed off a boat, and her life mattered too, but a Caucasian sister pushed off a boat, and they're still trying to deal with that. Okay, well, these 6 black women have been killed, so even if the mainstream doesn't deal with it, what are we going to do about it as black people, right? What are we going to do about it as black women?
Bring about awareness.
And let me share something with you too. People have been commenting for you. BG, go get the comments. Facebook then lost them. Shauna Joy had a testimony. Tara Muhammad says, I bear witness. Angela Birdsong says, at times we think we can get ourselves out of an abusive relationship, but we need help to get out of it if we are stuck in it mentally, emotionally, financially. Absolutely correct. I want to, Shauna Joy said something, and there's a lot of beaches. Like the minister said one time, look, there are women handling men. Like, you're just not coming up on just any old woman and beating them up. But at the end of the day, they're killing, meaning black men are killing black women too, and so.
Can I just say one part on
yeah, because I'm looking for the comments.
One brother and some brothers have a hard time because they can't save their sister, because sometimes they do and handle the person who's abusing their sister or whatever, and then the woman go back and get back with the man.
Exactly.
I want to talk about that part.
Exactly, and we're going to talk about the sisters marketplace. Go ahead.
Right, and so sometimes it hinders brothers.
Domestic violence it's tricky to get in. It's tricky to get involved in. Look,
that's what I'm saying.
I worked with someone.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah. No, you're right.
You're right.
You're right. But I worked with someone who, we've heard the stories. I'm not the only one. There's stories upon stories where a person comes in, he's after her, he kills everybody, kills a dog. Stop killing black women. How about that?
That's right.
How about that?
That's right.
Get yourself together and stop killing black women. And that's even easy to say. But we're in a savage world. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We got paved streets and nice palm trees, but this is called the wilderness of America for a reason. We're savage. We're other than ourselves.
Yes.
We have been made that way. But, we're getting it from all sides. And I know, like, I thought like this. Look, people were asking, what did the sister do? Well, like this ring thing. Should have gave him the ring back. Give me a break. Are you sure that this is the case? This is a scapegoating of her. Walk away. Don't shoot her. Walk away. But the thing that is a trippy part about it is, see, we have to be willing to become under measure of control, because we're also this kind of black woman modern day. It's like, you can't tell me nothing.
Right.
No, I don't care what you're saying. Nobody going to tell me anything. And Sister Charlene was mentioning that in the beginning. But these women, these are the ones that we know about. You know, again, you have the pimping of women. What's our little sister name that was in Aquila and the Bee? Beautiful little sister. Kiki Palmer. First you had her over here and she was doing all this in the spelling bee. Now you have her as a lesbian pimp. I don't understand that. I have a problem with that. So, no, we're not going to really rise up too much for black women because we're feeding off of black women. They're a commodity. We become a commodity. So we have to take that back. I really am not happy that I can't find these comments that were there for you. Sister Valerie Muhammad said, sometimes fear restricts the woman from trying to help herself. Yeah, we got it all. You're right, Sister Valerie. There's many, many, many things. It's not a one size fits all. And, you know, sometimes we won't even be able to help anybody. But because people have been whisked out. The sister who posted this on her page was sharing a story about a person, the DeBarge's mom, I think, and she had 8 children. Nobody would take her in to help her get away from her abusive spouse because she had 8 children. And so when she went to the police this was in the 80s, brought her back home, according to Carletta, because they said you should be with your husband. See, we're in a white male patriarchy dominated society. Right. And we have to remember that as well. They don't care about booty. This country is built on the rape and savage beating. I don't care about that, but we care, Black Nation.
Yes,
what are we going to do? What are you going to do the next time you're hearing someone talk about man, that be, that this, that,
That's
that?
right.
What are you going to do about it?
That's
what
right.
are you going to do is sit by? What are you teaching your sons? What are we teaching our daughters?
Right.
So, Sister Beatrice, we're going to go here. Monique Bacon says, it would be great if strong men of faith could provide a venue and space to address the weak men who are abusers. Yeah, I say collar them up. Grab that shoulder. And here's another thing. I remember when Brother Jay-Z, their baby was coming, and the article was, he was telling, you know, it was a thing about don't call his daughter a bitch. Right? Pardon my language, but I'm using it for the reference. And Dr. Boyce Watkins said, oh, okay, Jay-Z. So all of our daughters had to be B's and W's before we had to get to this realization. Right? So if you don't want it for your daughter, don't want it for my daughter. So when we hear people say, oh my God, you treated my sister a certain kind of way. Okay, well, the person you're mistreating is somebody's sister. Okay. So we're going to go on and on and on. This was just
want to get to the market.
This was just to scratch the surface, raise up the awareness about these 6 sisters and what happened to them. But there are more. And let's be honest, you might be one of them. So get help.
And sisters,
get help.
Thank
Here's
you.
a word
Bye-bye.
of advice also.
Thank you, Beachy. Love you. Assalamu alaikum.
If he starts off lightly slapping you, believe me, he's just testing you. The bigger slaps are to come. So you have to let him know right then and there, you're not the one. The minister tells us a story about how he slapped Sister Khadijah, his wife, Mother Khadijah, one time. And she slapped him back. And that's the last. That was that.
That was the end of that.
No more domestic abuse in that house.
Very, very, very early in their marriage. He cracked us up with that. But let's go to the Sisters Marketplace. And listen, everybody, this was just a surface level here. I know some very brilliant experts that handle this, and we're going to bring them because it's duty bound to give you resources in addition to the national hotline number. Let's go with the Sisters Marketplace. I think we got a flyer for that. Go ahead.
Yes. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Beautiful. Well, I'm excited. Sister Charlene, you know the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, one of his main principles that he was trying to impart with us was to do for self. Okay? So the MGT and GCC of Muhammad's Mosque number 27 is going to form an organization, a marketplace for that purpose alone, so that we can learn how to be entrepreneurs, how to do for ourselves. We must, because there are no more jobs. So it's going to be on December the 8th, Saturday, at the mosque. That's 8701 Manchester Boulevard.
South Vermont.
Off of Manchester.
No, actually it's 87. Go ahead. 8701.
87th in Vermont. And It will be from 1 to 3. And we are inviting the public out to come and shop and just have a good time with us. Muslims have a good time.
Yeah.
We really do. And not only do we plan to do for self, but in Proverbs 30:13, it says, she seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with their hands. We will have some beautiful handcrafted items, hand-carved soaps, art, beautiful scarves, MUI memorabilia, fresh baked desserts made from the sister's kitchen, food made from the sister's kitchen, slightly worn clothing, garments. You see the lovely garments that Sister Charlene and I have on? We make our own garments, okay? Also beautiful clothing, body oils, herbs, etc. There will be an array of different items that you can purchase and help build the Nation of Islam's MGT, which we help sisters who are in trouble. We teach you how to take care of yourself, how to take care of your family. Some of our sisters we see in the streets, we know that they are in need of great care.
Absolutely.
And that's what we offer.
We're your servants.
Come and join us. Come and join us next Saturday. This will be a monthly event. But this Saturday, we're going to start this Saturday, and we'll have some really beautiful items for you to choose from. Come and meet us. Come in and just
fellowship with us.
And, a lot of people think that we're just so strict and we don't have any fun. We have a lot of fun. And we have learned to love ourselves and love each other and love you. And we want to share that love with you. So we hope to see you not this Saturday, but next Saturday at Muhammad's Mosque number 27 to begin our new marketplace, to be the center of economics and to grow and to build a nation, get our Black Wall Street back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You're so pretty.
Oh,
you're glowing.
Just a reflection of you, my dear sister.
You're glowing over there. Thank you for all the sisters that are contributing to the marketplace. And inshallah, Sister Charlene will try to make sure to have something there to provide as well. But we're your servants. We're here. The MGT and GCC are your sisters. We're not some far out sisters. We're just like you. We love you, and all that we're doing is for you. So please come out and enjoy yourselves. And you're always invited to the mosque on Sunday, 8701 South Vermont. And so with that, I just want to give one more comment before we get out, that Shauna Joy, oh my God, Facebook make me sick. It keeps taking her comments. Anyway, Shauna, she's given 3 comments that I wanted people to know.
Wow.
That she was really talking. Oh, here it is. Shauna, no, this is not her, but this is Cheryl Millicent Watkins. She said, thank Allah for this timely and much needed show to uproot and shake the dirt off these roots and expose this for what it is, hidden and hushed culture of abuse and sexual abuse due to the lack of knowledge of self and the time and what must be done and growing up in the hell of North America. Didn't she sum that up pretty good?
Yes.
Pretty good. And so at any rate, this has been our show for today. I want to say thank you so much to you, Sister Charlene, for coming. Thank you, Sister Beatrice, for calling, and all those who are weighing in on social media. And thank you so much to the owner, the proprietor, the big ship around here, Sister Felicia, the poetess Morris. When we talk about doing for self, this sister is doing it. I'm going to tell y'all, this spot is available, and it won't be long. You better come on and get you a chair over here and do your podcast. But thank you, Sister Felicia, for welcoming me and the Nation of Islam by way of me as a sister in the nation to your studios. I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying subscribe to The Final Call at finalcall.com and read Minister Farrakhan's cover story. We're not off that defending Farrakhan, please believe, but I really wanted to talk about the woman today because it touched my soul when the sister put that post up. And so I'm Sister Charlene Muhammad saying, if it's impacting our community or can uplift us as a people, let's talk about it. Peace.